gonna get the 0378 up to the shop today and go over it. I got one tire, I think it's this guy right here. Oh, is it this one? Oh, it's that one. That tire split, so I got one to replace it. I'll do that, reset my depth, because down there on the muck I'm probably going to want to shallow it up because it's going to try to go to China, depending on how good those gauge wheels are at holding them row units up. And I'm going to put the rolling shields back on it. So not a whole lot to do to it, just want to get it done. We did. What you doing, Teeter? What you sniffing? Anyway, we did get a, well, we got all that, and you missed that rabbit that was right there. You're not very good at this, are you, pup? We got 4/10 of rain last night, which doesn't get us anywhere near where we need to be, but it's better than nothing, so I'm gonna take it. And we got another good chance Friday, as long as they don't take that away from us. So there are beans coming up. They ought to look better in a day or two. Now that we got that rain, they ought to, the ones that haven't sprouted ought to sprout, and hopefully it starts filling in. Otherwise it's gonna be a pretty piss poor stand of beans. But so we got that rain, that was good. Hopefully we get more. And got the radiator for the grain truck back. Ended up having a bit of core in it, but we'll talk more about that later. So I think that's where we're at. So we'll run this thing up to the shop and get to work on it, I guess. Okay, so here's the new gauge wheel tire. It's like 24 bucks and some change out of Shoop, if I remember right. And the part that surprised me is, first off, it's a Carlisle, so it's actually brand name. Don't know if you can see that or not. And made in the USA. I was real happy to see that. Of course, the thing I've noticed with Shoop that I kind of like, and it's really why I do like dealing with Shoop, is they try their damnedest to have American-made stuff in stock. I mean, obviously they can't do that on everything, because there's certain things that just are really hard to find made in this country anymore, which is retarded. But like, for the most part, Shoop is very, very good at sourcing American parts, and I just can really appreciate that, and that's why I just really like doing business with Shoop. But anyway, what I believe we got to do, because I've never done one of these before, is just pull these 7 bolts out, and it should let the halves separate. And yeah, slide that tire off, slide the new one on. I didn't notice there's writing on this. I don't know what brand this was originally. What you doing, Teeter? What do we got? Manufactured by the Ohio Rubber Company. 4x12. Willoughby, Ohio. Willoughby? I have no clue how to pronounce that. That's definitely not English. Maybe there's somebody from there. Soil King must have been the brand. Anyway, so get some tools and pop that apart and see what we can make happen here. Okay, so I couldn't get the halves to separate on the cultivator, so I ended up well, first things first, to be able to get to the center and try to prime apart, I ended up cutting the old tire the rest of the way off, and that didn't work. So I ended up driving it off the carrier there, because it's pressed in and then it's got a roll pin through it. And in the process of hammering it out of that hole, which took a little bit of heat to break it loose, it fell apart on its own. So all you gotta do is put them together, which that might actually require a little bit of tire soap, but you put them together like so and bolt it back together and put it back on the cultivator. Hopefully it fits. Shoot said it was supposed to fit. That's the only 4x12 tire there is, so we shall see. If not, I'm gonna be kind of pissed. Alright, well, I got that tire back on. Once I figured out that those things don't just slide together, you gotta press them together, it went a lot easier. Like I say, this is my first time ever screwing with that style of gauge wheel, so I did not know, but now I do. You learn something new every day. I probably should have bought a bearing for it and put a bearing in it too, but it's not, I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It ain't gonna fall apart on me at all. But yeah, basically all I did was, because I couldn't get the tire pressed onto the shells by hand, so I took it down in the press, laid a block of steel across it, pressed it onto the half that was still stuck on the bearing, and then used this half and pressed it all together, and then drew it up the rest of the way with the bolts. And wham bam, thank you Sam. It did, I did put some of that Murphy's tire soap on it to make it go, and it slid right together. I didn't even have to use the hydraulics. I just used the adjustment screw in the press and pushed it all together. It was real easy. So, and I almost thought about just go ahead and buying all 5 tires and all 5 bearings to put on it, but I'm kind of reluctant to spend too much money on this thing, because if I end up with a 6-row planter this fall, this thing might be going down the road and I might be trading up to a 6-row cultivator. So before I go putting too much money into it, I want to see where I end up planter wise, because it's kind of hard to cultivate behind a 6-row planter with a 4-row cultivator. So, and then I went through it, I dropped all the gauge wheels back to where they were. I had them picked up because last summer I took this thing and tried to cultivate out some ragweed, but the ground was so damn dry it wouldn't go in the ground, and I had the gauge wheels picked up like 3 inches to try to get the damn thing to dig, and the ground was so dry and hard it wouldn't do it. So I put them back. It's probably about 1 inch or so, which for cultivating is really all you need. The only thing I wish this had was, I wish it had sweeps on all the tines, instead of, it's got sweeps on the back, or it's got full sweeps on the back tines, half sweeps on the middle tines, and then just spikes on the front tines. So it doesn't actually really quite cover all the dirt in the row, or disturb all the dirt in the row. I think it'd be nicer if it had some duck feet on all the tines, or probably duck feet on the back that's center too, and then half feet on the front. That way you could scoot them up next to the row. Because right now I got them sucked all the way out, and then normally if you're cultivating multiple times a year, you start off with everything sucked out away from the row, and you run your shields, and then your second pass over you scoot them in a little more, And usually by your second pass, you can get rid of the shields, and then if you end up making a third pass, you scoot them in even further. And it throws dirt inside the row and covers up whatever weeds are inside the row, is the theory. So, anyhow, I got to go up to the barn and get the shields and slap those on, and she will be ready to go to the field. Okay, so I got all the shields out. Last time those things were on this cultivator, that was still a narrow front on 15.5s. Oh, rough. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, the scary part is she knows how to work a door handle. She apparently she's figured out if she jumps up on that, because that's obviously got a lever style handle on it. She's figured out if she jumps up on that, she could push that door open. It's kind of scary when your dog figures out a door handle. But anyway, seeing these makes me kind of sad, because I see the paint is all nice and bright on those yet, and the cultivator's all nice and dull now. And when I first brought it home, all the paint on it looked like what's on these. I mean, these things are, if you wax them, I bet they would shine. Because that thing was shed kept the whole time Max had it. Actually, it's a really low hour cultivator. He bought it. I think he farmed with it for, or low acre cultivator. You can't really put hours on a cultivator, but Max bought it, and I think he only farmed with it for one or two seasons. And he went to no-till and he parked it, and it sat in his barn ever since. And then I bought it, and obviously we are shed poor and had to go outside. I mean, it's still not terrible. It's in a lot better shape than most cultivators you find that just got stuffed in a fence row. At least this one's out where it isn't getting all covered in moss and whatnot, but all the decals are still on it for the most part. I wish I could keep everything inside, but there's some stuff's more important than others, and unfortunately a cultivator ain't all that important. But anyhow, rolling shields. So these guys go on those brackets, which works out good, because I thought I left most of the mounting shit on there. That way they were still on center. I just got to bolt them back on. So, but the whole reason they came off was when I was back when I cultivated every year, I never really cultivated early. I waited till the corn got, you know, yay tall, so I didn't have to worry about covering it up with dirt, and you can go faster. Well, those things hang down far enough that you would rip leaves off of corn, so I took them off and just never got them back on. But that corn down in the muck is short enough, I'm gonna need to run them, so they're going back on. So, yep. Gonna, looks like by the witness mark, they go on this side of the bracket and use these two holes. Yeah, 'cause there's a washer mark there and a washer mark there, so that's gotta be what they do. And it looks like they're actually gonna go on there about like that. So, then I can get you over here. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. Oop, damn it. Drop my nut. That's never good. There's that one. And there's this one. And then you just you gotta find, it's easier. Basically, you gotta get it to where these teeth are pretty much engaged most of the way into the ground when the cultivator's in the ground. And then you drop that chain in there. And that holds the shield up when you pick the cultivator up, so your shield's not dragging. And then when you're going into transport, you put these all the way up and tighten your chain all the way up, and it holds them up. So that's about how that works. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all these put back on, and we'll catch you here in a second. And there we go. All those things do is they go down and they straddle the corn plants and keep those front sets of shovels from throwing dirt on top of them and covering them up. And rolling shields are the final iteration of the most advanced cultivating technology, I guess you could say. Way back in the day, you had tunnel shields. Well, as far as I know, tunnel shields were first, and they were literally what they say they are. They were just a formed piece of sheet metal that came up and went over and formed a tunnel. But the problem with those, that I understand, is they didn't deal very well with soil variation because they were solid. So then you had side shields, which were individually hung, stationary, or they individually hung and individually suspended, and they were just flat pieces of steel that came back and ran along beside the row, and they could go up and down. And rolling shields were the final iteration, and basically these were a lot better because they didn't ball up with any weeds or anything. These were the end all be all for cultivator shield technology, if you want to associate cultivating with technology. But yep. So now we are all ready to go down and get the weeds on the muck taken care of this weekend. So like I say, it wasn't a whole lot to do to this thing, but it definitely needed done. Well, it wasn't really anything maintenance. It was a couple adjustments and putting some stuff back on that I took off a long time ago. But that tire needed done, because you don't want that tire off, and then you beat the hell out of the wheel shells, and then you're going to get new shells. So anyway, I guess that does it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.